Hi, I'm Anna Barishnikov.
I'm Nastasia Popov.
And I'm Camila Mendes, and we're representing Idiotka.
The film is about a floundering fashion designer who lives in West Hollywood, and she competes on a reality show called Slay, Serve, Survive because she really needs the cash prize to save her babushka's apartment. And as the competition intensifies, she gets pushed by the producer, played by Camila, to really share her family's sob story. And it kind of puts her in this moral gray area where she has to decide how much of herself she's willing to share and how much of her family. But it's all really funny and fun. And that was really one of our goals to highlight the absurdity of how these days artists are. We're all just expected to put our trauma into marketable sound bites. And um, it was really, and I feel like the reality show gave us a fun breeding ground for like how far can we take this question. So I was writing early drafts of the script after having moved back to LA around, let's say, the age of 28. And I was living in this intergenerational household with my grandmother, my parents, my sister, and my boyfriend. So it was chaotic, claustrophobic energy, but I had to channel the claustrophobia into, comedy because I feel like that's my most natural voice. And then my grandmother, it being the child of immigrants, Russian Jewish immigrants from St. Petersburg, my grandmother always played such an important role in my life and just felt like she was tying me to the history of their motherland, which is obviously complicated. And they, fled to LA. And so it was just important for me to immortalize her, essentially. I'm not sure how much of a spoiler it is that the grandmother dies at the end, but of course, like once I realized that scene was the ending of the movie, it really clicked for me because really I was just writing this whole story in honor of how much she sacrificed to give me the opportunity that I have here in America.
Margarita was such a gift. Nastasia wrote such a beautiful, complex character who has a lot of contradictions within her. And there are a lot of contradictions in her family as well. We have Gita, who, they say that no one has a more idealized version of America than an immigrant, and Gita definitely embodies that dream. She feels like success is just at Margarita's fingertips, and she worships Shark Tank, and she thinks they should go knock on Bezos's door. And so you have that kind of faith and ambition, and then you have her father, who's much more private and much more wary of going about putting so much of yourself out there. And so I think we see Margarita try to figure out where she lands between those two points of view in her family. And she's this very passionate artist. And I think she is encountering how difficult and how complicated it is to try to become an artist under American capitalism. And we have um, this very absurd vehicle of the kind of Project Runway-esque show, where she's asked to boil down her very complicated identity to like 3 words that match a sponsored um, uh, challenge. And so she's really trying to figure out who she is as an artist and figure out where she lies in her family structure. And we get to kind of watch her do that through fashion.
So I play Nicole, who is the reality show producer on Slay, Serve, Survive. And I think one of the main things Nas and I talked about was making sure we were balancing, her being this reality show manipulator. I interviewed a lot of, not a lot of, but I met with one person who I knew who was on a fashion competition show. And one main thing that he told me was that, these people, they really befriend you and they get close to you, but they're also kind of provoking you and trying to get you to open up on camera and start drama for no reason. And he told me a lot about that complicated relationship. So I wanted to bring that side out of her, the manipulative side that very much has something to be gained from it. But also, wanted it to feel like, Nicole really sees herself in Margarita and admires her ambition and I think respects her as an artist, but is trying to get real with her and say, like, this is how the world works. If you want to make it in this business, it's so much more than talent. It's also about spectacle. So, in a way, she's, manipulating her, but she's also helping her through that. So that was kind of how we approached that character.
And I also have to say, I absolutely loved Julia Fox, Sweetie, and Benny Drama's characters.
Yes.
That was just like such a funny trio. Can you tell me about working with them?
Incredible.
I mean, I've never broken so
Yeah.
much.
So much improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julia says she's never laughed harder on set because of Benny. He was just so hilarious in every take, and Julia was a dream to work with. And Saweetie was, the best, most beautiful surprise that came like a week before we were shooting. It just all worked out so well. And the goal was really to, have actors who were willing to poke fun at the industries we all know and love. So it was really fun that everyone was willing and down to get in on the joke.
And Julia especially, I feel like I'm a New Yorker. She's been iconic to me for so long. And to learn that person is so supportive and so game. I mean, I have two really good Julia anecdotes that I think are worth, because it really explains things about her. There was one scene where she was wearing just white cotton underwear and thigh-high boots and a sweatshirt, and Nas came up to her and said, you are going to be exiting, so we'll see you from behind, and it's a fight scene. So Julia was like kind of running out, and she was like, are you comfortable doing that? And Julia was like, no, that's why I'm wearing this. Like, that's funny, which was so brilliant. She's so brilliant.
The way that she can bring comedy out through fashion is amazing.
And then the other was when Nas was kind of deep in the edit and getting a lot of opinions from all perspectives. Julia saw a cut, and we were out together afterwards, and Julia just texted her being like, this is your film and it should be what you want, and at a certain point you have to stop listening to anyone else. And it was the most girl beautiful, I think. She earned her EP credit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. I think I have time for one more question, but I really loved the kind of message of what Geeta tells her, like, be your own muse. Can you tell me? Can you tell me about, like, trying to do that despite all of everything that life throws at you, I guess.
Yeah, that really is the message of the movie. I feel like as I was writing it, I just, I learned that you have to be delusional to be an artist, and you just have to not be afraid to tell people who you are and be vulnerable. And I feel like Julia Fox, for me, really embodied that throughout this whole process. And so the line, I don't know if I should say this, but the line was actually originally written to say, be your own muse, like Julia Fox.
Oh, wow.
But because she was in the movie, and
then we got her.
We didn't know she was going to be in the movie when that line
actually
was written.
helped hook her to want to be in the movie. But then it would have been a little too confusing for audiences if then Geeta was referencing someone who's plays someone else in this movie. But yes, the message of the movie is really just be who you are and let your freak flag fly. And that's, that's, I think, what people resonate with.
Did Julia have a problem with, like, the Yeezy line? Because I thought that was just a funny, like, tongue-in-cheek kind of.
No, she didn't mind it. I think, I think everyone just knew that this was, this was fiction. Yeah. So we really bend the rules of what is real, and calling Julia Emma Wexler. Everyone can fill in the blanks of who these judges are inspired by, and they're all hybrids of different people. So I think everyone was just like, I love that no one took themselves too seriously on this movie, and we just like bring back fun in movie going, and it's been such a fun year to see that a lot of comedies are doing well in the marketplace. So we're excited.
Well, that's all I have. But like I said, I just love the movie so much. So thank you. It was so nice to talk to you.
We appreciate it.
Also, we know you have a reality, right? RuPaul's Drag Race. You were a correspondent on there, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I loved that part of your resume.
You seemed confused for a second.
I know. I was
actually watch that one.
Certainly.
Well, actually, my dog upstairs, his name is RuPaul, like Paul. Yeah. So.
RuPaul?
RuPaul.
That's amazing.